there. We are Rob and Jan, and this is our van, Ramona.
It's a Ram Promaster 3500.
It's a 159-inch, not extended.
Yeah, the van, it was just strictly a cargo van, and we did have options put on it that are similar to what's called an RV package, which gives the swivel seats and a couple other features like that. And I went from here in Ontario to Edmonton, and I built it out there where it sat for 3 months. It had never come out of the garage in 3 months.
12 hours a day for 3 months, building it with your brother, and
so,
a lot of work.
it was in the shop, and one continuous build for that period of time. And this is what we ended up with.
So we have an awesome step here. We have a great running board because I'm vertically challenged. So, and we also have, because these seats are swivel and they're designed to come around with the seat belts intact here, we actually were able to use the area the seat belts normally are for a dog toy to use to get in and out. So both seats swivel around completely, which is nice and handy. And our headliner up here had a really creative idea. I don't think anyone else has ever thought of this before. When people have curtains across here, they end up getting kind of tucked in behind the driver's seat, gets to be pretty bulky. So I wanted to have something that had a multi-purpose. This is built out of aluminum that has been rock guarded, and then we have just like little knobs from like pulling drawer pulls that have been put on here and attached in order to have this as a towel rack, coat rack, any kind of thing like that through the day. And then in the evening, when we want to have privacy and we're boondocking, we have curtains that just hook across it. So we can either do 2 across to make it really private, or just do it as far as we need to. And it just takes a minute to set up, and then you can put them away each time. That's really handy. We have a cupboard up here. All of this was built by Rob. He's quite a good carpenter in terms of putting things together and building things. This one up here is for all our games and books and knickknacks and odds and ends up in here. The bench we really like. We put a little bit extra padding in these cushions. These are just the ones you can buy. We bought these just at a regular store like a Lowe's. But a lot of these stores have these type of cushions that are made with that sort of sunbrella type water resistant material. So they're great for outdoor use, but also great for inside the van because they're washable. So these ones are a 25 by 25 size with I think a 4 or 5 inch depth to them. And the great thing is, if they wear out, we can just replace them. Just buy replacements, and a lot of times these go on sale as well, so they're awesome. Underneath here we have full drawers that open up for all of our boots. This has all been rock guarded, as well as a carpet put in here, so any kind of moisture comes out of there, doesn't have any issue. We have 2 of the Max Air fans, one in the front and one at the back, to promote airflow throughout the entire van, and they have remotes that we have over by our bed for both of them. The ceiling's all tongue and groove style of ceiling with all the touch lights. So this is a birch butcher block 1.5 inch depth counter. So the countertop goes across and then extends down into a waterfall style feature. So it kind of creates a nice look in the van. Our tap here is actually a pot filler. So the tap can go all the way outside if you need it to, and extends all the way around. We have a filter underneath for our water system. So this water coming out of here is filtered to drink, and this water is just regular tap water. In here we have our sink. I believe it's a 15-inch sink, and quite a nice depth to it. In here we have our garbage. We have the gray water coming from the sink. So basically it's completely adjustable. We did it kind of a quick, when we were building the van out west, it had been 3 months of building, and we were going to head out on our journey, and Rob said, I'll build the table later. And I said, no, I want a table. So he did a quick one that we ended up kind of keeping anyways. But basically it's just a piece of particle board that has been rock guarded. So it's completely movable around this way, so it can be used for this table. We're going to do something more permanent at some point, and or either just paint this some more. And it can be used here for the seating here. So this is actually a tool chest. This is one of those tool chests, again, you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot, anywhere like that. And so it's all metal, and it opens with 1 key and locks with 1 key. So this stores our induction burner, as well as some other tools up in here. It also stores all of our cutlery, all of our Ziplocs and anything like that we might need. All of our dishes, everything else here. So everything we need for the kitchen. Our spices we store in a little basket on a shelf that Rob built in here. Here we have a huge pantry. So it's a full length 32 inch pantry that holds all of our food that we need, and also the other part to the lagoon table. But we like this because we've seen quite a few van lifers that have issues with having mice come in. So we like the idea that everything can be stored away and sealed up in there, so there's no concerns with any open packaging or anything like that. Everything's stored away, so you don't have to worry about any smells or any mice wanting to get in, and if they do, they can't access anything. So in here he has his guitar. So this whole guitar fits all the way in here. And over here we have something I didn't think we'd be able to fit in here, but we managed to make it work. So we have a little closet. So in here we have a few different items, enough space, hanging space for about 6 or 7 items. Underneath here we have our toiletry trays. So we each have 2 this size for all of our toiletries, vitamins, shampoo, conditioner, all that kind of stuff. So that's where we have our Instapot. We have some other kind of containers and extra storage for lots of what we could use in there. That's our toilet. So Rob made that. It's a DIY diverting toilet. So he created that. We ended up buying, he made all of this, and the toilet seat's a regular toilet seat, and we ended up buying this on Amazon, and it's a Kildwick diverter, so for the urine and other diverter there, and the whole thing lifts up and has all of our items and everything we need in there. So it's awesome. And then there's a fan that goes out here all the time, and the fan helps to take away smells or anything like that. Before we move on to the bedroom, here's our kettle up here, and in here we actually have lights in behind the cupboards, so it makes it a little bit nicer to see in here. So this is our coffee station. We have our kettle that we use on the induction. We have our Clever Dripper coffee maker, and this is something else we really like having. We were trying to figure out where to put our paper towels. It wasn't messy and out on the counter, so we managed to make it work to fit in here, and even when it's a full roll, it fits perfectly in there, so you have no problems. And it's one of those perfect tear, so no issues getting it off there. Here's where we keep all our clothes storage. We each have our own closet. So I have it holds tons of clothes. We also have this undermount light here, which is really useful at night for cooking or for preparing, having anything here. In our bedroom area, this is a queen size bed. We did have to cut it off a little bit. We cut 8 inches off the bottom of it. The total length of it is about is exactly 6 feet, actually, is the full length of it. And we're only 5'3" and 5'8", so plenty of space for us. So it is a full queen size width though. It does tuck in here nicely. It's a 7-inch mattress we bought from IKEA, a foam mattress, really comfy. Rob also has a CPAP that he runs. So because of that, he's got a separate inverter just in here, just for a CPAP, to make sure that's not taking any power from anywhere else. So this is a 3.8 cubic foot fridge, Dometic, and it holds a ton of stuff actually. So there's a little bit of freezer storage. We even have ice cream.
One of the things that we did do for the van is, of course, being in Canada, we needed heat. So I purchased a diesel heater, and it's located in this area. It's tucked away, and actually it was a hard thing to install, because when you look at the components underneath the van, the frame members and all that, I'm telling you what, there wasn't an inch on either side of the access points you needed to go through the floor for extra room. It was a MacGyver. It was really something, and in fact we had to move it ourselves, push it back. But anyway, for the purposes of servicing, all you have to do is, there's 4 screws here, and there's a large panel cut in below here to access it, and then the drawer can be taken out too, so you can get into it should you need to. Yeah, we haven't had any problems with it. We run it all winter, and it would keep the interior of the van around 18-20 degrees. Now it's not perfect, because we had a problem with the water freezing, because our inaugural voyage leaving Edmonton, we went to BC, and on the way back we were in North Battleford, and it got down to 32 below with the wind chill, and the water did freeze at the back. Not because it wasn't insulated, because there was no airflow. So that's a consideration that I hadn't really thought of at the time. So it's something we had to, for this winter, put antifreeze in the system, and so nothing would break. So one of the things that we did do was we put in this CR Lawrence window, and as you can see, the metal right here, what I did was I made a panel. The diesel heater tank is in here, and the water filtration is there. And this was just a case also of you know, trying to find the lightest material to shoehorn in, and this is just perfect because it just slides in and it finishes this area, and I just hold it with magnets that will actually spin on screws, and you know, it's not rigid. So the whole van build was around my water tank. Consistently we run across Vanlifers who said that of all the things they wish they could change, they wish they had a little more water. So anyway, I kind of went to an extreme with this one. So here's my water tank, and it's 54 gallons. Now that water tank is the width of a queen size mattress, less this. So the other end of this is right on, there's only 1/4 of an inch of plywood on the opposite end where those drawers are, and it left me just enough room to squeeze the water pump and everything in on this end. The bed slats do go to here, but then beyond this gray piece, there's 2 panels. And that's made so that you can flip the mattress up and access it from up above, because there's no way you could ever do it from the end here. And I have all lighting in here. And what I have is 660 watts of solar, 2 house panels on the roof, on a custom made aluminum roof rack, 3,000 watt inverter charger, so it controls the fridge. It's been set with preferences that it just knows that it takes care of the fridge. So whether it's solar, alternator charging, or shore power, it will make the switch automatically. And I do have a 40 watt DC to DC for the alternator. The alternator, when I bought the van, I upgraded it to a 200 amp. 200 amp? Yeah, I guess it would be amps, yeah. And I say that with reservation because I know nothing about electrical. If it wasn't for my brother out west, I would still be out there. It's incredible the work he did. What I also have is put in a compressor so that if we have to do any mechanical work or air down the tires or whatever, we can do that. And then there's electrical back here for an electric impact wrench. I got 400 amp hours of Battle-Born batteries. There's 4 batteries in here. Never had a problem with them, other than apparently now they come with heaters. So, you know, never at the right time, eh? You know, which would have been convenient for Canadians, but yeah. Other than that, you know, a lot of people will build a van, and you know, the very popular mentality is live in it before you build it. I had the advantage of, for 37 years, I drove trains. So I was always in a confined area, and I always had to bring limited stuff with me for my life during that period. And I've had a lot of building experience, so that with watching YouTube, I was able to kind of know what would work, because I've already been there halfway, eh? You know, and so we just went with it, and there's a couple little wee things we'd tweak, but for the most part, yeah, we're happy with the way it turned out. One of the things we did do, or didn't do, was put an indoor shower. This is a demand gas water heater, and what I have underneath the bed is a tent that just flips out, and that'll be our shower facility when we can. And other than that, you know, you go to gyms or whatever, just like everybody else. And but if we're boondocking, and like I say, we've got 54 gallons of water, so not that we can be you know, really wasteful, but at least it's there. So, and we haven't used it yet, so that'll be something that we have to get onto. One of the things that we did do was put the WeBoost in, and it seems to work. And this whole roof rack was built in one piece by my brother and I. He did all the welding. It's aluminum, and I think it's 13 feet long. And when I was all done with the positioning of the two max air fans, because I use house panels, that's why it extends out to the edge. There's 660 watts in two panels of 330. I only had an inch left over, so I had to do all this, put it all in, and just hope to heck that they would fit, because there's no way to really know, you know. So yeah, we were squirming when we finally built it and put it up there. We said, holy geez, it does fit. So for once in my life, my tape measure was right. So, but other than that, it's been completely insulated. I think I put 3 to 4 bags of insulation and 14 of the large cans of foam, because there's a lot of places you just can't get to, you know, with regular insulation. So
did you use fiberglass insulation?
I used Rockwool, yeah. And in fact, in the ceiling in places, I used it's a compressed about 1.5 inch thick Rockwool, and what they do is they use that on foundations. But what it allowed me to do was, between the ribs, because I was working by myself and I couldn't hold it up, I could make a flange in the ribbing, set it in there, and then just take a board, put it up, and then put the other piece, and it would hold it. So it would just lay on top of itself, And yeah, it was just a lot of little pieces you got to put together, and but it turned out pretty good. So we got cameras. There's 4 cameras, one on either side facing down the body, one facing forward, and then one at the back, so that when I turn on the backup light, you can see where you're going in a boondocking situation at night.
Hope you're all enjoying this episode of Alternative Dwellings. I just wanted to let everyone know that I'll be going to British Columbia, Canada this year, filming van tours. So if you're out on the west coast of Canada and you live in a van, please reach out to me. There is my email in the description. And we're also now filming in San Francisco. So anyone in the San Francisco Bay Area, reach out to me. We'll be adding different spots all over North America that we'll be filming at. Those are the 2 locations right now. West coast of Canada, all across Canada on the road trip, but mostly West Coast, and San Francisco. Thanks everyone. Now back to today's episode. Why did you build this van out?
My mother passed away fairly quickly of cancer in 2018, and a few months later I was diagnosed with cancer in early 2019. That whole year was full of surgeries and treatments and tests and so many things going on, and that year that it was kind of crazy. So when I had the time off, we took a lot of time to go to our different provincial parks. We bought an Ontario Parks Pass and did just day trips, just to get out, just to unwind, just to get my head mentally out of what was going on. And so we spent a lot of time in nature and being out, and we've always camped and done different things over time, and we just really found we really wanted to be out more and more. And at the same time started watching more YouTube, and started watching Vanlifers and Vanlife, and came across Chrome on Van City Vanlife, and started watching him and thought, hey, maybe we could do that. And we just started, you know, kind of researching it, and ordered a van November 2019. It got delayed a bit because of COVID, didn't come until July of 2020 to build out, but we just decided life is too short and we wanted to enjoy our lives, because you never know, you know, when your time is up, right? Everyone's got a story, everyone's
Absolutely.
got their reasons for doing things, and for us it was about just kind of taking advantage of our life and trying to do as much as we can while we can do it. So
Yeah, I think typically people have they're under the illusion that they can only do something when certain things fall into place. And the bottom line is you're not going to do anything if you don't stop making excuses for why you can't do it. And so in my situation, I was a locomotive engineer for 37 years, and I've been retired now for 6 years. But I remember being on the trains and thinking, man, I can't wait until they give me a steering wheel, because now I can chart my course.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
freedom.
yeah, it's the freedom, and and I've always done photography, so. It's just a collection of circumstances that seem to collide into this type of move, and so at the end of the month here, we're out of our property, our sticks and bricks, and we are on the road. So anything we're doing to the van right now, when we put clothes in it or stuff in the fridge, it's for good. We're not going back into the house with this stuff. And so we've created...
We sold our condo.
Yeah, we created a situation where now everything in the condo is not coming in the van with us. So that's where we're at this point, and we'll just ride it out as long as we can, as long as we're healthy, because you never know. You just never know. So you might as well take advantage of it. So.
And why did you decide to go the DIY route instead of buying something already pre-made?
I don't want to sound arrogant, but they're not going to do it as good as me. Because
that does sound arrogant.
Well, yeah, but it isn't. But
and cost too.
But you know what?
Cost.
Yeah, but that falls right into the analogy of living it until you really know what you want. I knew what I wanted. I knew that somebody just building one could build a product. It would be far more expensive, but at the end of the day, it's not what would satisfy our needs. So that's why we did it.
And not just that, but when you do it yourself, you know all the workings of it. If you have somebody else build it for you and something goes wrong, you don't know how to fix it. Well, not that you know how to fix everything either, because your brother did a lot of... You should take your sunglasses off. You can't see your eyes.
I was just thinking, because you build it, you know how to repair it. But yeah, unless I put a bed in here for my brother, who did all the electrical, I'm foobarred.
But at least you know where everything is and where it was put. So you have more knowledge of the inner workings and everything underneath the insulation and what everything is. So you have a better idea than somebody buying a van made for them, what needs to be done in order to fix things or just to maintain it.
Yeah, and personally, I've built a couple of houses. I've had like a woodworking shop. I've always been around tools, so it's just second nature. I grew up way up north, 8 hours north of Sault Ste. Marie, and we were always of the mentality that if you wanted something done, you did it yourself, whether it was mechanical, woodworking, or whatever. So we were always hands-on. So this was just an extension of that, culmination of all the tools and knowledge that I'd collected over the years. So
make sure that if you're doing it yourself, you do your research to make sure you're doing everything safely. Because even with the knowledge you had, we still had to, it's always good to make sure you have an electrician, a plumber, somebody to anytime you're doing anything that can create any dangerous situations, you're going to want to make sure you have access to professionals to make sure that you're not going to have any problems down the road. We've watched some van tours and we think, boy, that doesn't seem safe what they've done. And I think it comes down to knowing your limits of what you can do yourself and what you can't do, be willing to let somebody else do it for you or hire out the parts you need help with, because you want to make sure it's safe. It's your home. You want to make sure it's safe in the end, right? So
yeah, and if you have any doubts, don't be afraid to either through your extended family or friends. There's a lot of people out there with knowledge who can kind of get you back on track or tell you if you're getting off track, in that sense. So don't be afraid to ask questions, because we were having I put in sumo shocks in the back and I had a bad time. I'm telling you what, I come across something that should not have happened twice. But anyway, in doing this, I'd watched a video from Dave and Carrie of One Adventure at a Time, and he'd put them in. So Janet just texts Carrie, and I'll be darned if the phone doesn't ring. And it's them in New Mexico. And so that's just the type of the YouTube, support network you have.
We've found since being on YouTube, we're actually we started a YouTube channel in order to, because we have kids. We have 6 kids between us and 4 grandkids. And we started it to document our travels for ourselves and for them, because we thought it's a nice legacy to leave them. But in the process, we've come across so many other van lifers, other YouTubers, other creators and followers that are incredible. And it's such a community that we didn't realize was there, that it's actually pretty
it's very inclusive. Everybody has a story. Everybody, regardless of what your background is or where you were in life, everybody's in the same spot right now, and it's kind of encouraging to know that everybody is looking out for one another.
How important was stealth for you? Because your van, when you close it all up, it could blend in. Was that a factor for you deciding?
So how important was stealth for us? Originally, when we first started the build, it was a factor and we were concerned about it. But as we see more and more and more people out there with their DIYs, and we have that big roof rack with all the solar and everything. You can't really be stealth. So I think it comes down to people are going to figure out what you're doing, and nobody really cares. The ones that know about van life will see it and know what you're doing, and others may or may not notice and won't care, but I don't think it really matters. What's your opinion?
Yeah, that was the initial thing, I think, for a lot of people, was staying stealth, but I've kind of approached it in a different way, is in building it and seeing how it kind of developed. I've gone the other way, where people think that I've got a SWAT van. And I was actually at the gas station last night, and when I went to get out, this guy was driving in front of me, and he rolled his window down and says, "Is that a camper?" I said, "No, I built it myself." And he says, "I thought you were a SWAT van." He says, "But then when you got out," he says, and I'm thinking to myself, what? Obviously, I don't have an imposing look, or it doesn't go with the SWAT look. So and I've been in places where I've been parked and people will walk in front of the van and they'll look at the van, and all of a sudden they'll see the cameras and the screens and all that facing them, and all of a sudden you just kind of see them kind of look away and keep going, because they're not sure what they're dealing with. So. But no, the stealth thing is. I
don't think it's important.
I don't think it's important. No. Everybody knows what's going on.
We built this thinking we do like a more 3-season camping, or we'd be going away for winters in it. And our inaugural voyage, it was leaving in the snow and cold and minus 32 from Edmonton across to Ontario. So it was quite the experience. But having done 5 weeks in the van like that and minus 32, if we can handle that and really love it, and that doesn't scare us off, nothing's going to scare us off. So I think the benefits are freedom. I think freedom is number one. That always comes up. But I think too, the benefits are, it's not about living in your van, it's about living outside of your van. It's about having a more minimalistic approach to life. We have so much stuff that we all accumulate in our lives that are just not important. And as you start to reevaluate your life, as so many people have in 2020 especially, I think you realize that all these precious things you hold on to that nobody wants and you can't get rid of, it actually holds you down like an anchor. I think the less you have, the more freedom you have mentally, physically, in every way, right? Don't you think?
I think we finally come to the point of our life where you always hear that saying, don't collect things, collect memories.
Yeah.
And I think initially you think of it, or you hear it and you go, that's kind of corny, but it is so true. Because like for me, the van, what it represents is to be able to pull over and stop. Because I use an app called Photo Pills for doing astral photography and that, and I can't wait to be in a situation to sit on a lake shore and get the app out and say, okay, where's the sun setting tonight? Where are the stars? Where's the galactic center? And damn it, if I want to stay there, I'll stay there, or come back. At least I know I have that option. And so for us, it allows us, I think, to be more creative, because Janet does poetry.
I do poetry, and photography.
And it's just the freedom of making those choices and doing it.
And enjoying life every day. That going to work 9 to 5 or even longer than that some days.
Yeah.
You're spending so much of your time collecting money in order not to be able to really do anything with it, because most of your day is spent working and not enjoying your life. And the more freedom and the more adventure and travel we can do and experiences is what we're
and you're not
for.
Encumbered being in here.
And we're doing our kids a favor, because the less stuff we have at the end, the less they have to deal with when we're gone, right? So less they have to try and get rid of. We have our parents' stuff and our parents' stuff.
Their inheritance might not be as big.
No, we're going to spend that.
And they laugh. They really do laugh. They go, yeah, go for it. So all they want is postcards. And like I say, documenting it through YouTube is nice. My grandson and my granddaughter that are here, that's their thing. Sunday they go downstairs and with their dad and they watch our video.
And they critique them sometimes.
They critique them, yeah. So it's
from your experience in van life so far, what have you taken away from it, or what do you think that you've learned about yourself from your experience so far?
Well, I think the biggest thing I've learned is I better get it right this time, because I'm getting too damn old to do this again, this build. I'm telling you what, it almost did me in. But on the other side, I have a lot more talent than I realized. I could have maybe used more, but you know what? You do what you can, and it's just gratifying to know that you've created something. Like for me, I call this my piece de resistance. You know, this is it, man, for me. And we actually had a gentleman in the United States who wondered if I could build him a van after seeing this.
We've had a few people ask if you could build a van, and he'd pay you. It's like, no, you can't pay me enough to do this again.
No,
but
I think that's a thing, is when you get into a van and you find a piece of or a vehicle that you want to build out, it becomes a labor of love.
Right.
It's an extension of who you are, and it really addresses what you want out of life, because you're going to build it to cater to those idiosyncrasies that maybe other people don't see in you.
And it
so
allows you to be
how
more
can you
free,
get a van pre-built?
It allows you to have more creative freedom too.
Yeah.
I think because then and I think what happens is, you know, going back to the whole, you know, collecting things in life, you know, you have a condo, you live inside of it. And I think that's, you know, you watch too much TV, you spend, it almost seems an effort to go outside. And I think what van life does for us is, and how it changes us, is to be able to have a more active time and be able to be outside more and enjoying life more, and just try to experience more of the outdoors and life. What kind of person suits this lifestyle? I think anyone can, that's not afraid to be true to themselves, if that makes sense. We always grew up camping, and I think sometimes people see the Instagram version of van life and think it's going to be all pretty and nice, and there, you know, you pee in a bucket. you know, it's not always pretty, but I think if you grow up in a lifestyle where you camp and you can rough it and you're used to that, I think anybody can do it that really is open to trying new experiences. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to rough it. Not everybody wants to have, not that we're really roughing it. We have a great rig here, but I think you have to be open to change and open to adventure, and any age group, whether it be young just starting out or retired like our age group, anyone can do it. It might be trickier with kids, maybe, but young and old.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when you look at society in general, most people only function as an extension of the things that are provided for them. When you take them and put them in this situation where you have to adapt and make concessions for nobody else other than yourself, you know, and still be strong and you know, accomplish what you want, it's coming from a totally different place, because most people, like the Kardashians, could you take their stuff away from them and put them in a tent? There's no way. You know, I don't think they could do it, because they're used to a support network of a belief system.
Kardashians, why would you bring that up?
Because that's the other end. We're on one end, they're on the other.
You're comparing us to, there's Kardashians and we're like here? Like, what's the difference? There's like, so what are we?
Well, we're more like the Beverly Hillbillies.
That's true.
But when you don't have all these things that society provides you at your beck and call, then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to adapt? How are you going to modify, survive? Whatever happens.
I think for full-time van life, you have to be willing to give up belongings and willing to open yourself up to experiences.
Yeah, and you're not giving up anything.
No.
Because with the right mindset, you're getting so much more than what you're giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just leaps and bounds ahead of.
If you're willing to boondock,
it's all
you're
perception.
willing to
it's all perception.
Not have it perfect, right?
Yeah.
And maybe go a few days without a shower and use baby wipes and not worry about being perfect all the time.
That's right. That's why we're here.
That's right. We're imperfect. We're perfectly imperfect.
That's right.
First, what is summing up our personal philosophy on life, Rob? What is it?
In retrospect, I think that it would be, I spent too much time making excuses.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And living for tomorrow. Tomorrow is here right now.
Someday. Give up someday. Someday we're going to do this. Someday we're going to do that. Someday never happens.
This is the day.
Yeah.
Like they say, if is the middle of life. So, and it's here. So, and we're at the other end, of that spectrum.
Time is fleeting.
Yeah,
you got to take advantage of the time you have.
Yeah.
And it's not just time. It's the quality of your life, because so many people work their whole lives and then they retire, and in a lot of cases people don't live that long after they retire, or they don't have the capability to travel due to health or other reasons. And it's like that, me having got cancer, and knock on wood, I'm good now. It was a wake-up call, and I think it really did make us realize, wait a minute, you know, we might not live till we're 80 or 90. Like, live your life now, because you just don't know if there's going to be a tomorrow. So that's
yeah, that couch potato thing.
We want to be healthier. We need to have a more healthy, active lifestyle so we can have a good quality of the rest of our lives. So that's the plan too.
Yeah, I think basically, you know, regardless of where you are in your life, if you're not happy, change it.
Yeah.
And for us, I had the advantage of, you know, building this out in one build because of the knowledge base that I had prior to going into it. And we did do the full build, but I've been waiting for this for 37 years, you know, and I spent many a nights on the railroad in the middle of nowhere, you know, thinking of that day that in my mind I would have that freedom. Well, that freedom is here, and I'm not going to feel guilty about what I'm doing.
You earned it.
Yeah, everybody's earned the right to be happy in their own way.
Yep.
And if this is the way you want to express yourself, or, you know, painting or whatever, it's kind of an extension of a creative process for me. You know, all the building and my photography, Janet's poetry, and you know, so I think at the end of the day, for me, I want to leave something behind that is creative in our YouTubes and videos. YouTubes? Yeah.
We're on the YouTubes.
Oh, we're on the YouTubes, yeah. You know that YouTube thing, eh? Anyway, so it's just something. It's like when I retired, I bought 3 guitars because I didn't want to not have something to keep my mind engaged. And now, you know, I'm going to go down to 1 guitar and a van, and I'm just going to be engaged.
I'll keep your
all the
mind
time.
engaged.
Oh, help me, Lord. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I think that's pretty, you know, we just want to get out there and have fun.
So we are on YouTube and Instagram, and we are Rob and Jan Can Van. When he was in the process of building the van, I wrote a poem to kind of sum up why we're doing this and who we are. So I'll just read that now. I made it nice and big so I don't need glasses to see it. So it's called Because We Van. After years of working to support time away, quick trips and cruises, short times to play, we realize we have a new story to write, exploring each sunrise and bright stars at night. Photography, poetry, sharing our dreams. It is actually in reach and closer than it seems. Embracing the journey, new places to explore, the excitement of not knowing what lies in store. New friendships and memories to nurture and grow. Our home is where we are, and anywhere we roam. We only get one life to do all we desire. Live the life that ignites that inner fire. Come along on our journey. We are Rob and Jan Can Van as we embark on our adventure, because we van.
If you enjoyed that and want to check out more alternative dwellings, we have a playlist popping up that is all the episodes that we've ever done. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode.